We love to read to Raylan. I thought I would read the first chapter of Amber's book. Mom, Jack and Aaron and Peter and Chelsea are here. What'd you think, Raylan? Raylan, are you finally awake? Yeah, you're finally awake. Oh, you're closing your eyes again, sweetie. Don't close your eyes. I'm gonna read to you. Here's what I'm gonna do. I've been wanting to read this book to her. This is my oldest daughter's book. She wrote a book. It's called Shelter. And we love to read to Raylan. Raylan loves us reading to her. So we usually read things like children's books, and we read various things, really. But actually, her next oldest sibling, Emily, is reading Harry Potter to her in the evenings, too. So Raylan just loves hearing books. She loves us talking to her and reading to her and that kind of thing. But I thought I would read the first chapter of Amber's book to Raylan and see what she thinks. But if she's sleeping, I'm just going to read it anyway because life goes on, right? And this is life. It's real life. And I think she's awake enough that it's kind of like reading a bedtime story to her. So just think of it that way. So this is the first chapter of my daughter's book, Shelter. Oh, the chapter is titled Secret, or The Secret. Fred Pater truly was a favorite among the younger children. The doorbell rang. Mom, Jack and Aaron and Peter and Chelsea are here, Fred exclaimed. He ran to get the door. It was cold out there, and he didn't want his favorite people out among the rain puddles for too long. All the children were his favorites, really. He turned the knob. Fred's chocolate hair lifted in the sudden gust of wind that bit his nose. Shivers racked the spines of his friends. Hi, Fred, they shuddered, teeth chattering. They stomped the rain from their boots. Hardly any other type of shoes were made. Are you sleeping now, Raylan? Well, it's a bedtime story. Come inside. Fred nearly shut the door before he looked up and saw their mom, Angela. Respectfully as he could, he stepped back to let her by before finally closing the door against the howling wind and rain. What a nightmare. Roselle, Fred's little sister, came jumping to greet them, her golden-tinted curls bouncing. Angela followed them. Did you hear about little Maddie? Mom sighed. She was a smart one. She was a smart one. What happened? Too smart. She climbed out of her crib in the middle of the night. Raylan, you're beeping. It's low oxygen, but I think she's okay. Just slightly low, 91. We'll keep an eye on it. They didn't hear her or anything. I heard James had a problem with the sunlight enchantment. Must have been a long day. Oh, that's such an unlucky combination. It is. Her funeral will be quiet. I didn't think they wanted to talk about it. Well, I'm glad we have these. Though the rain does put a damper on it. Seems like it'll be strong for a few days again. It usually is when it's a child. Fred listened with his face turned to the adults. It was the same as always. No matter how long he listened, he didn't understand what the danger was. Obviously, they kept something from him. But there were more important things to do then, such as playing with his guests. Quickly, they agreed upon feet loop, as they liked to call it. The game went like this. Everyone took someone else's ankle so that everyone was tangled together, and then they untangled themselves without letting go. It was a simple game that everyone liked. Not so much their parents, but they got away with it. No one got stepped on, usually. Jack got Fred's foot, and Fred got Aaron's foot. Pretty soon, Fred was lying on his side watching Roselle, Chesley, and Peter work out the remaining knot. No, Peter, you go this way, Roselle insisted, blueberry eyes glinting by the candlelight, waving frantically with her free arm and making Fred grin. Peter eventually fell backwards over Chesley's arm and a couple of legs. The puzzle was suddenly solved. In silent agreement, everyone put their foot in again. They managed to keep at the same activity for a while until Dawn, Fred's mother, called them for a snack. Yellow seed berries, or what was left of them after whatever happened 30 years ago. The adults gave the small bowl a nostalgic glance. Hopeful or sad? Fred couldn't tell. Aaron was already collecting a pink stain on his little fingers as he popped the red fruits into his mouth. They were a little bigger than most berries, and he could hardly hold his mouth shut with so many. Fred nibbled quietly at one. He knew how much work it took to find these. It was a luxury. All done, Chesley cried, holding up her pink hands to show they were empty. Wash your hands, said Angela, the mother of all four of Fred's guests. Okay, Chesley found her way outside and began to play in the rainwater like the 6-year-old she was before Angela frantically called her back. In the sink. Chesley shrugged and played in the sink again until Angela called again to tell her not to waste the water. But, Mommy, there's so much water outside. No, Chesley, that water isn't good. You okay, sweetie? You okay? You're fidgety. I know. Why not? Chesley tilted her head sideways, midnight hair squished between her head and shoulder. Angela sighed. Chesley sat in a corner and stuck out her lower lip in response. Fred pulled out a spark mint, hoping to cheer her again. "Do you want a mint?" he asked, sitting next to her. She accepted the mint and stared at their mothers while she sucked on it. "They'll tell us about the water someday," Fred reassured her. The secret pestered him as well. Sometimes he thought the children were just his distraction. No, clearly she disagreed. Fred pondered the next path to take in the conversation. If he promised her he would let her know when he found out, he would be bound by word to tell her if he came upon the information himself, whatever it may be. However dangerous it might be to have hidden from him for 11 years. He wasn't being selfish, just cautious. "We'll be grown up someday, though, and find out for ourselves." His leaf-green eyes found hers, a little teary, but a rich, deep brown nonetheless. "That's a long time," she insisted, as if he didn't know. "Still, it's coming." Fred finished his yellow seed berries and distractedly ran his fingers under the sink. So Chesley, too, wanted to know. Maybe Dad would answer some questions, but he was nervous to ask because of his age. "Put on your boots," Angela announced. "It's time to go." I know. Do you need to lay down? Fred, consumed with curiosity, jumped as Angela interrupted his thoughts. His friends were leaving. Hastily, he turned off the water and started to say goodbye. Chesley was last. "Bye, Peter, Aaron, Jack, Chesley," he called out after them. She turned before she walked out the door, and he gave her a small smile. Let's get you laid down. Okay, we moved to the couch because Raylan didn't want to be in her chair anymore. So I'm just going to finish reading just to the end of this section of the book, which is right here. Maybe she'll wake up, maybe she won't. "Bye, Peter, Aaron, Jack, Chesley," he called after them. She turned before she walked out the door, and he gave her a small smile. Still, the secret lingered in his mind. He shivered as the last gust of frozen wind faded. But maybe that wasn't all which made his spine tingle. Dad. Every second he waited, Fred gained confidence. This was the day. This was the hour. He lifted his foot with new purpose. When he set it down, it made no sound. Silently, he touched the handle of the office door. Dad would be there, working over statistics from the market. Fred wondered briefly if anyone could get in trouble over this question, but decided against it since they did have a right to know, and punishing him in any way would only reveal that something was going on. He gripped the knob harder, his knuckles white even in the dim light. Any moment, Mom could see him and ask what he was doing. The idea terrified him for no reason in particular. It was either inside or away. Oh my goodness, big yawn. He chose away and let go just as the sound of the footsteps came to his ear. As if it was his intention all along, he went to his room and picked up a book, which he only used to hide his face as he pondered his first move. When would he recover his purpose? He thought he only needed more time to think, but there was nothing left to ponder. He had to know. His mind resonated with the need to understand, for Chesley and for himself. But it was getting late, and perhaps it was best left for morning. Someday, he promised, but not today. What'd you think, Raylan? I think she just slept during the whole thing. So my daughter Amber also started posting more videos to her channel as well. She talks about the process of writing a book. She talks about publishing books. She talks about languages. Some of her older videos, you can see her strumming on her ukulele, that kind of thing. So go check out her channel. She's got a channel. My son's got a channel. Just about everyone in our family has a channel at this point. But anyway, go check out Amber's channel. You can also find a link in the description for her book if you're interested in buying that as well. But either way, God bless you, and I hope that you enjoyed us reading to Raylan. Take care.